guys. So we're just going to do a quick instructional video on how to build your own basin. A couple quick things. We already have a site picked out, but if you're looking for a site, you're trying to find a place where water's going to flow and you're going to capture as much rainwater as possible, but also a place where you want to put that water. Do you want to put it for a tree? Are you trying to develop an area and get some more trees or growth there? So we've already selected that site, but we're trying to create a rainwater harvesting basin that will capture rainwater, not let it run off the area, and plant it and infiltrate it into the soil so that the natural trees will be able to grow off that. So we have kind of all our gear here. Here is our mesquite tree we're going to put in. All we need is a shovel and a rake. We got some water in a watering can to water it. Got some tools and gloves. Then these boxes have some beautiful mulch that we're going to put on top, and that's local Palo Verde and mesquite trees that have been chopped up. And then I also brought over some horse manure here in the wagon. Now, horse manure is not really nutritious for the soil, but it's like a thick grass that I can put on and help hold some moisture in. So I'm working more as a mulch component. We'll put the nice stuff on top, horse manure on the bottom, let that break down. It'll keep moisture in the soil, hopefully prevent weeds and other growth. So you can say, well, why are you putting, so we kind of have a little bit of a start of a basin here, but we're gonna finish it out. We're gonna put the tree right on the side. Now, why are we doing that here? Well, we have some areas. I'll back up to just give you a little perspective here. So I've put in this path. So one of the things is when you build a path, you hopefully get some perspective here. We're trying to get it raised up. So this comes up as a lip, and then this path is raised. And so the reason we want it raised up is we're going to use this as basically a berm. So it's going to stop water from coming across this way. We do not want the water to come this way. We want it to stop over on this area. This also makes for a nice pathway as well. You can see there's some other little depressions here. This is, little basins to just capture some of that water. If it lands here, we don't want it to come across this. So we use some of the dirt, right? You can dig up that dirt right there, and we throw it to make our raised pathway. Now, why in this area? Well, if we take a look and get down, there's a significant sheet flow that kind of comes across this whole area. And we're trying to capture that and let it hold here and sit for this tree, so this tree can create shade for this whole side of the house. Now, what is sheet flow? Sheet flow is where water is coming basically in a straight pattern. If you look at this area, this water here is just going to flow right off of this, and it's going to come across in a sheet down this direction. So there's no, we're looking down low, there really isn't a valley, there's not a little arroyo or anything. It's just a big rain, it's just gonna run straight off. So we're using this path and these basins to kind of stop that sheet flow. So you can see we've started a basin here. We've dug a little bit of the dirt out. The next thing I'm going to do is round this basin. We want a nice smooth edge, and I'm going to dig an area where we're going to plant the tree. We don't want to put the tree right in the bottom of the basin. We could. I'm going to put it a little bit to the side over here, and that way with the tree just on the little bit of the side, its roots can grow in, but we can also protect it a little bit, and we'll make it its own little basin for watering, because hopefully we won't have to water the first 2 years, and then it'll be growing by itself. Now, I do have one piece of irrigation from my rainwater collection that comes across, so I'll use that to supplement the tree, and that's another reason I'm putting this basin here. So hopefully it'll create nice shade for this path, but we'll get this going. All right, so here we are next to the basin, and we've dug our hole. You didn't need to see me dig that on YouTube. Took no more than 5 minutes. So dug a little hole. We got our watering can and our tree. Now you can see that our tree it's going to fit nicely there. Some of the other basins over here, we're going to take that out, make a nice little depression so we can put some water in, and the tree fits perfectly. So first thing I'm going to do is actually put a little bit of water. It's been pretty dry out here. So I'm going to put some water in that hole, let it soak in, and then we're going to add the tree, and I'll show you how we compact that. All right, so tree is now in there. So the next thing we're going to want to do is move some dirt around and fill it in. Now, roots do not want air. Air is bad. So you can say, well, how are you going to prevent that? Well, we're going to put that dirt in there. And then I like to use the back of my shovel. And what we're going to do is compact that dirt. So just tapping it down nice and easy. We're doing it all the way around. Tried to make sure our tree was upright. The reason you want an upright tree is so that it's not slanty or looking goofy. Throw the rocks over to the side. But yeah, put a little more dirt around there. Again, shadows there. I'm going to tap that in. Yep, we're going to tap that tree. That's what we're doing. Tapping some prickly trees here. All right, so we're going to keep going, fill the rest of that dirt in there. It's okay if there's rocks in the soil, you know, that'll add some permeability, but we're not filling it up too much. Just going to get that in there. Tap it again. Tapping the tree. So we're doing this, and we use mesquites out here in the Sonoran Desert. Why? They're native to the Sonoran Desert. So it's better to put in native plants where you live. Putting in a native plant, much higher likelihood of it succeeding and going on to being a successful tree. Also, it's a whole lot less with the water usage. You know, and water usage, people say, well, you know, I went to school in the Midwest, head up to Minnesota on a regular basis. You know, people go around like, oh, no problem. Well, we're using water. You know, there's places trying to pump, like Atlanta is having difficulties with droughts, and they're in the southeast, tons of rainfall. But what we're trying to do is say, you know, if you just kept the water there, instead of letting it, you know, run off on the roads and everything, you'd have your nice place with tons of water. You wouldn't have to be building a canal, because they're looking to build a canal and a pipeline from the Great Lakes to Atlanta. I mean, these are crazy thoughts. But just keep your own water on your property, and then the plants with their root system are going to help you keep that water there. So now we got that plant in, we're going to give it a nice drink here. So we're just going to let that water fill. You can see we made a little basin for that tree. Now eventually I'll run a little piece of spaghetti tubing, you know, off this line over to it, but we don't need to do that today. It's not a need. So we're going to let that sit in. Now eventually we're going to mulch this, but letting that water go. The next step is really going to be to create that basin, finish this off. This is kind of a raggedy edge over here, and you can see this is a little raggedy. So we're going to try to smooth this up and make this into a nice basin with that. And, well, you can see here we got plenty of grasses growing. So all I'm going to go do is grab a couple of these. I'm going to pull them slowly from the bottom, move the rocks away so I can get as much of their roots, and we'll replant those. These have been self-propagating. This is all from one grass. So before we plant those grasses, we're going to knock down this edge. And you say, how do you know, knock one of these edges down? You can either use a flat shovel or a rake. I'm just going to go back and forth across that edge. Right? And as you do that, you slowly, it's a lot harder with one hand, but you're slowly breaking that down and getting a nice, kind of smooth transition. Hopefully you can see that's a lot smoother transition than what it was. So we're just gonna make that nice edge, get a nice edge there, and then we'll be able to put the grasses in the basin. So you can see we've got those edges smoothed out on either side. So the next thing we'll do is plant the grasses, and then we'll add a little water for those, and then the mulch, and we'll be done. All right, got our holes for the grasses here. Now I'm sitting down because we're gonna plant these. So they're just grasses I pulled out, and I threw them in this bucket of water. So see if they like that. I haven't tried this technique, but I use it for grapevines, so let's give it a chance. So we're gonna put that grass right down. You can see the grass is right there. We're gonna bring that dirt all around it. So we got the roots deep. And we're moving our dirt back in. I'll repeat this 3 times. Kind of create a little bit of a basin for each one as well. All right. If you're asking why do I like grasses? Well, they handle the heat pretty well. And now that they're growing on the property without any assistance, that becomes a free, cheap piece of plant. So we'll put those in. They're super hardy. I'll repeat that times 3, and we'll take a look at the basin. All right. So we got our basin. We got 3 grasses planted that we removed, and we got a mesquite tree. So hopefully this will create a nice area. Now we're gonna line some stuff with horse manure, and then we'll put the fancy pretty mulch on top. All right, quick look. We spread the horse poop around with the grasses. Now we're gonna add the mulch. Now the mulch is on there. Kind of adds, blends in with that horse poop. The horse poop will dry. Gives a little moisture right now towards the ground. But those will blend in. Kind of makes the mulch go a little bit more, so that's why we used it. And we got our basin. Nice.